and welcome. Can you hear me out there? All right. This is Lou Benninger. You're listening to Live with Lou, and you're listening to The Patriot, 1410 AM. We're up here on Mount Huth, sitting up here around the cumulus cloud. If we breathe too deeply, we're teaching the jail inmates how to breathe deeply, lower the anxiety. But if you breathe too deep up here, you suck in a little marijuana fumes coming up from Linda, California. We're out here in East Yuba County where we're fighting a cartel planting big old bunches of marijuana up there in the foothills and out through the valley. So we'll be here for 3 hours. If you want to check us out, you can go on the website at knycradio.com. If you have problems with reception, you can listen live over there if our live stream is working. If you get all frustrated or pass out or have to go get a sandwich or run to the store and you want to listen later, you can go to One Eye Blind Media. That's a YouTube channel, One Eye Blind Media, and then click on Live with Lou and pick the show you want and listen whenever you want. All right? So if you want to call in, you can. We are pro-choice, so we may abort your call, particularly if we don't agree with the gender today. I'm not sure what gender we're going to stick with today, but, it just comes and goes. Or if I think you might cramp my career ambitions, we might have to abort the call. So, but you can leave a message with Wiki. He's more flexible than I am. This is Santos Vigil across the glass. We are talking live today till noon, and then some sports folks come in. The number here is 530-742-5555, 530-742-5555. And so some of you that are a little suffer with anxiety probably should smoke a blunt right now, because I don't want to send you over the edge today. I'm trying to think what the comment was when the guys walked out, whether they said, give them the devil or give them hell. I said, yeah, some people think that's all I'm going to give them. I noticed I've been talking to a lady over the past couple of weeks that used to be a drug smuggler and a people smuggler from Mexico, and she lives in Mexico. And she's been providing me insight that you don't get on the news, and about the stupidness that the media is reporting about separation of children and all that stuff. And hopefully we'll be able to do more of a show on that and spend maybe an hour or hour and a half or so on that in the future. But I was reflecting on what happens. It's interesting where you always look at it from, well, why don't we just give free everything to everybody crossing the border and ignore them breaking the law, whoever's coming across the border, not just Mexicans, all kinds of people are, all kinds of ethnicities or people from various countries. But what if you cross the border illegally going the other way? What happens? Well, I was reminded of a Marine, Andrew Tomaresi. Remember when Andrew Tomaresi crossed the Mexican border and was beaten and imprisoned for 214 days. Remember, he actually had a weapon or two on him or something like that. And I thought, remember how difficult it was to even get him out of jail and back up to the U.S. free. And he was a military guy, Andrew Tomaresi. If you go that way and get in trouble down to Mexico, God help you. But up here, liberals will help you. Okay? So just a thought. And last week, I told that story about the difference between a liberal person and a conservative. And so I wanted to tell another one that's similar to that, because a lot of you don't know the difference between socialism and capitalism. And this is kind of like the story I told last week, but it's one I've told before, but it's just perfect because when kids go to college, they know very little, and they get down there, and now college professors, instead of just teaching them about economics or psychology or liberal arts, they're pumping them full of crap. political crap. And so it's not unusual for your college kids to come home. You sent them away, blessed them, prayed over them, sent them off, loved them, nurtured them for 18 years, sent them off, and the first time they come home, you're an idiot. And everything you believe is totally wrong, and their professor is like the professor got a download from God or got the 10 Commandments. And so this story goes, a young woman was about to finish her first year of college. Like so many others her age, she considered herself to be very liberal Democrat and was very much in favor of the redistribution of wealth. You know, it's amazing to me, the local Republicans, people that are in office that claim to be conservative, and, oh, yeah, I'm against all this. Their rhetoric, oh, yeah, I'm against redistribution of wealth. And then they do it. Like they're wanting to pass a tax right here. Take taxes from us and then give it to them. Pay their big salaries. I'm going to talk about some of those gigantic salaries today. She was deeply ashamed that her father was a rather staunch Republican, a feeling she openly expressed, as college students like to do. Dad, how come you're so stupid? Like, can't you get it? I got it. I'm only 19. Based on the lectures that she had participated in and the occasional chat with a professor, she felt that her father had for years harbored an evil, selfish desire to keep what he thought should be his. One day, she was challenging her dad on his opposition to higher taxes on the rich and the addition of more government welfare programs. She was challenging him. And the self-professed objectivity proclaimed by her professors had to be the truth, she thought, and she indicated so to her father, like, come on, Dad, they know, they're a professor. Like, what do you know, dude? He responded by asking how she was doing in school. Common question. That's how I used to ask my daughter. Right? How you doing? This money doing you any good down there, girl? Taken aback, she answered rather haughtily that she had a 4.0 GPA and let him know that it was tough to maintain a GPA of that caliber, insisting that she's taken a very difficult course load and was constantly studying, like working her fingers to the bone. And she, in fact, it left her no time to go out and party like other people she knew. She didn't even have time for a boyfriend, she said, and didn't really have many college friends because she spent all her time studying. Her father listened and then asked, well, how's your friend Audrey doing? And the daughter replied, well, Audrey's barely getting by. All she takes are easy classes, never studies. She barely has a 2.0 GPA. She's so popular on campus, college for her is just a total party and blast. She's always invited to all the get-togethers, and lots of times she doesn't even show up for classes because she's too hungover. So the father asked his daughter, well, why don't you go to the dean's office and ask him to deduct 1 point off your grade point and give it to your friend who has a 2.0? That way you'll both have a 3.0 GPA, and certainly that would be a fair and equal distribution of GPA. The daughter was visibly shocked and upset by her father's suggestion, angrily fired back, well, that wouldn't be fair. I've worked really hard for my grades. I've invested a lot of time and a lot of hard work. Didn't go to parties. Didn't have any fun. Worked my fingers to the bone. Audrey has done next to nothing toward her degree. She played while I worked my tail off. The father smiled and winked and said, well, honey, welcome to the Republican Party. Just another perspective, and just thought you'd like to know that. Well, I'm waiting see if I get some information sent to me that I tried to find here earlier and before I just talk about this next thing, but I haven't got it. So anyway, I wanted to mention that I noticed in the Appeal Democrat, that's a local newspaper here in Yuba, Sutter counties. That's a daily newspaper. The newspaper with the biggest circulation is the Territorial Dispatch. That's a weekly. And in fact, it even goes up into Gridley, I learned the other day. But in fact, well, I'll get into that later, but I noticed that on June 25th, I call it the Yuba County multi-million-dollar team. We have a team of people. We had the sheriff, the DA, head of probation, Linda Fire Chief, and Robert Bendorf all traveled to Loma Rica to explain to the people of the foothills how they've been working their fingers to the bone, managing every little dime as best they can, and they're running out of money, and the only solution is to take more money from them up there in Loma Rica. And so what I did, I got curious, and I thought, I'm going to add up the salaries of those guys. It isn't really about the people, it's about the position. Because when they leave, the next person that fills that spot gets the same pay or better. Did you notice that? In fact, you probably saw this Supreme Court ruling against the unions. Well, this all affects all these salaries. But I added up just five people's salaries that work for the Yuba County, according to 2016. Now, Yuba County is a little slow getting their pay figures into transparentcalifornia.com. By the way, if you've taken your meds this morning, go ahead and look at transparentcalifornia.com and check Yuba City out. And make sure you got an extra level of Depends on before you pee your pants. Transparentcalifornia.com, then just go down to the cities, click on Yuba City, and check them salaries out. So, Yuba County, 5 gentlemen that took their evening to travel up to Loma Rica, in 2016 were earning $1.2 million. Now, that is the problem, folks, because it's not just those 5 people, but throughout the counties and cities, and some of you say, one of the guys been contacting me recently, giving me all kinds of information about Gridley. He's saying, Lou, you never talk about Gridley. We can hear you up here, but you don't talk about our town. We got problems. Well, actually, people, everybody's got problems because government has lost its mind, and because they screwed you. It's like incest. If you're a guy and you got a female in the house, it's a lot easier to screw her than go out and find yourself a girlfriend and get a relationship, marry her, and have relations. That's called incest. So in today's American government, it's caused incestual relationships between politicians, the unions that manage the government employees, and the government employees. And everybody points at everybody else. It's their fault. Nobody takes any responsibility. Oh, it's the state's fault. Oh, it's Jerry Brown's fault. Oh, it's that. Well, it's this person. Oh, well, it's the union's fault. Oh, it's the politician's fault, right? And all the while, the people that have to pay the bills never get to negotiate. Did you notice that? Somebody makes a decision to give everybody 5% raise, but the public didn't get to vote on that. Why don't they put that on the ballot? You want to give everybody 5% raise when they're making $300,000 a year, $277,000, $267,000, $264,000, $216,000, $171,000? You want to give all those people 5% raises or not? Let's just vote on it every time. Just put it out to the vote. Oh, no. You're too stupid out there for that. You're too stupid. In fact, I don't know whether the county has ever got around to responding to a Freedom of Information Act request on who is paying and out of what account is paying for all them fancy, glossy flyers that are flying around Yuba County convincing us that we just want to know what you feel. We just want to know. Please tell us. Would you like to live for another 5 years? Yes or no? Would you like to not have a sexually transmitted disease? Would you like to not have a sexual predator assaulting you? Really, tricky questions that probably people can't figure out with a lot of discussion. So we got all these flyers coming around. I just got a flyer. I'm in Marysville, the next house over to me. By the way, I'm thinking about, like duck blinds where you rent out. I'm thinking about sinking some blinds in my front yard to hunt tweakers. because I got so many tweakers. I'm going to have a tweaker season just like we have a duck season, and we can all hunt tweakers together to see. We cut down the number because it's all catch and release now. With Prop 47, it's catch and release. So anyway, I think maybe we should take things into our own hands. That's what happens when government runs amok. So some people in Yuba County filed a Freedom of Information Act request asking, who's paying for all these flyers to tell us we want to raise taxes, to convince us to raise taxes? And how come we're getting, where I live in Marysville, I could almost spit or take a leak and hit the house next door, and they're telling me on these flyers they send to me in Marysville, I got to have 100 feet of clear space around my house so the forest fire doesn't burn me over. Now the government took my tax dollars and paid for that flyer to come to my house and my P.O. box to tell me in the valley that I need to prevent forest fires by clearing out the area 100 feet around my house, when on each side I could toss my peanut shells out the window and hit the house next door. Now, how stupid is that? You think private industry would do that, folks? God help you if you're on that page. You'd be a part of the car dealership that went out of business. But that's government every day does stupid stuff like that. Really stupid. My brother used to work for the government. He was a painter. He said, Lou, we would paint buildings and they would tear them down within 12 months. We would paint buildings, put a new coat of paint on it, and they would remove the entire building in 12 months. Now and then government has a straight face. It's just like saying, oh yeah, it's sprinkling outside, and they're just pissing all over your boots. They're lying to you. They're not telling you. And then when you file a Freedom of Information Act request, oh, well, we have to have 10 days. Why don't they just tell you the truth right there over the counter? Oh, well, we have to have 10 days. By law, we have 10 days. What happens when that 10 days goes by? You think they obey the law? God, no, they don't obey the law. They just, like old Billy Fangman just retired over there at Marysville. At the end of 10 days, she just said, well, I'm going on vacation. I haven't got around to that, and so when I get back, we'll get to that. So they're stuffed that right down your mouth. That's how government is. So some people filed the Freedom of Information Act. You know what the response is? Well, we need to submit your request for where the money came from to our county council. Well, how do you do about that? That's government of the people, by the people, for the people. Is that what it sounds like to you? Or is that y'all out there stupid? We're making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year? And like, shut your mouth. Just shut your mouth. We'll give you information when we want it, if we want it, and there's information you don't have any right to see. Screw you. So the multi-million-dollar team went up to Loma Rica to say, God, how do they do it with a straight face? I'm just, I could never be in politics because I couldn't with a straight face, making $300,000 a year, $280,000, $260,000, go up and tell people, give us some more money without cutting my salary in half. Are you kidding me? I mean, this thing, we say, oh yeah, people in America, they got the entitlement mentality. Baby, don't be thinking about no $600 a month crack addict. We got crack addict Scott Mitnick fits that bill over there pulling down $300,000 a year. He won't even want to live here. He flies in from Ventura County. Entitlement mentality? That dude I was talking about last week, I think I wrote about him in the Territorial Dispatch, that police chief up in Gridley, he's making $330,000 and won't even pay for his own gym membership. These people have lost their effing minds. And the public just says, well, I don't know what to do. I'll vote for the Amanda Hopper. She seems nice. By the way, before we're going to go to a break here in a minute, and then I'm going to get into more details here, but there's breaking news that Gloria Allred will be holding a press conference. You know Gloria Allred? She's kind of that hussy attorney that always defends, she's like an ambulance chaser type attorney that chases all these funky situations. She's declared she's holding a press conference detailing the sexual assault allegations made by her client, a Chicago woman, against President Trump's Supreme Court nominee, whoever that eventually is. You know something, it's just absurd anymore, people. It's just totally absurd. I want to get into this grand jury report that is a mystery. The grand jury report is a mystery. It disappeared. 1 year's worth of work. How would you feel? You spend a year of your life working your butt off, adjusting your schedule, putting your kids in babysitting, extra care, running around, telling your husband or wife, you got to be gone here, gone there, working your rear off. And as long as it's something just nobody really cares about, they'll publish it. But if it gets gnarly and nasty, and the people, the powers that be, don't want you to play in that sandlot, they just put the big kibosh on the whole thing and say, the people aren't allowed to know that. Judge Aronson said, I can't comment on that. He's like the local Judge Persky, from Stanford, down there from Stanford. That's our Judge Aronson. And isn't it amazing that Judge Heckman, one of the bad things about electing judges is sometimes you can elect a real loser. When you appoint a judge, they at least vet them and see if they're smart and see if they're totally biased. There's some vetting. I think vetting is good. That's why I thought it was bad when we didn't vet Obama. But when you elect a judge, a lot of times it's a popularity contest. Like for instance, in this grand jury that happened here, a fiasco that's just unpacking right now. We had Judge Heckman got removed so Aronson could step in and maybe do some hazardous waste cleanup. We'll talk about that when we come back. Hold on. Somebody else needs to talk for a couple of minutes. Wikiman says. Be right back. All right. Lou Benninger here, and we're here live. Santos is helping me today stay out of the technological ditch, and we're talking about the troubles with government. Our founding fathers were scared to death of government, and they felt we needed some of it because of the gnarly, sinful nature of human beings. And people like terrorists, Muslims, which they had difficulty with right at the beginning of the country, as well as still today, they wanted to come in and slit people's throats. So they thought we needed to have a military to protect us against invaders from outside. And when we needed to have a quasi-military like police, like the marshal, to protect us from one another when somebody wanted to go nutso and come over and rape your wife or steal something or whatever. So they thought we needed some government. But the smaller the better, because the bigger it is, it takes away what they call your liberty. The bigger the government, the less liberty. So if you notice, the government is taking money out of everything you do, and you need to ask permission to do anything anymore. The only thing we don't have to ask permission, if I want to move over to another city, I don't have to ask permission. But some of my friends in Vietnam and stuff, up until recently, they couldn't even move around. Like if you had a Hanoi motorbike and you were over at Halong Bay on the coast and your motorbike tire went flat, you had to go back to Hanoi to get your tire fixed. Sounds stupid, doesn't it? That's government for you. So we're talking about the grand jury, and I was alluding to how, something, there's screw-ups in every profession. I've been doing this Christian thing for a while, and there's some real nutcases out there pastoring churches. And there are some perverts pastoring churches. And there are some perverts in government. And there's some pervert cops. And there's pervert firefighters. There's weirdos. There's lazy people in every profession. There's twisted people. It's just we're sinful human beings. Do you get it? It's not a personal thing with me. And so that's why the Air Force says, in God we trust, all others we monitor. That means all others. All other cops, supervisors, Walmart clerks, postmen, postwomen, everybody. Because everybody's got that gnarly side that if they don't keep it in check, like our founding fathers said, if individuals don't self-discipline, we're screwed on this Republican democracy thing. And so what government has done is insulated itself against cleaning out the hen house. You can't get the crap out of the house because they protect themselves with, we can't tell you about that. Oh, you have to file Freedom of Information Act for that. Oh, well, we can't divulge that. Well, that's confidential. Well, that's a personnel issue. On and on and on. Sounds good, doesn't it? It's a piece of crap is what all that is. All it does, it's insulated people that make 100,000, 200,000. I wanted you to think about how many jobs in our area besides government can generate that kind of money. These people are so full of themselves, they are a legend in their own minds. So I was talking about how when you elect a judge, like when Judge Heckman got elected, I don't think anybody would argue that against the fact, or would argue that she was the smartest person in that group, those attorneys. There were some smart people there. I knew some of them. But she was the most popular and ran the best campaign and worked the hardest and got herself elected. That's what these elections are about. And you could get a total dud, which in her case, certainly she's an attorney. She could pass the bar. But she's had complaints made about her in the family court. She's removed from there. Then she's put over and given the responsibility of the grand jury. But isn't it interesting that right in the middle of her running the grand jury, she was removed and Judge Aronson was put in there. Now, all kinds of people are going to say to me after this talk today, oh, you're just making up stuff. Oh, well, you're just speaking crap all the time. Here's what I'm telling you. When the government, let me just back up. We can keep me on track here because I'm going to take some side trails here. I run this trauma intervention program, and some of the trauma intervention program people got some attitudes about media for a while, and so I had Laura Nicholson, who at that time was the editor of the Appeal Democrat. I said, Laura, will you come over and talk to tip people and explain the importance of the media? So she came over, and it was a great talk. She did a really great talk. And she explained how, the media makes mistakes. Some of the people in the media have bad attitudes, just like in the rest of the world, right? Surprise, surprise. Sometimes they're not sensitive, da-da-da-da-da. But what she said that caught my interest was this. It's a human phenomenon. She said, Lou, if there was no media, or the tip people, if there was no media, just imagine today there was no media and something happened, a big explosion happened. People communicate. Communication goes forth constantly, 24 hours a day, a million conversations a day in each community. And they're communicating about something that happened, something that went down, something that's going to happen. And media simply declares what they think happened. And in absence of the media, or in absence of the true story, people make up their own stories. Or they put together pieces of the story that they think makes sense to them. You see, the fact that the story doesn't come forth, there's still going to be a story. And people will leak stuff, and eventually stuff will come out. Whether it's exactly accurate, may not. So sometimes I'll call a government figure, they won't call me back. So I'll do the best I can to come up, and I'll say, hey, you didn't get that right. It was $45, not $44. Or Amanda Hopper's, the IRS didn't garnish her wages. They just made an agreement to take her wages. Okay, fine. But at least we got to the bottom of it, because I couldn't have got to the bottom of it either way. So all you government guys that want to kick out the true information, just feel free. Just send the stuff over to the Territorial Dispatch. They'll print it, send me an email, do whatever you want to do. It's fine with me. So what happened here is we have a grand jury. Some of you don't know jack diddly what a grand jury is here. A jury. Yeah, I've been on the jury, been called to a jury. I actually took mine. I throw those jury requests in the garbage. You think, oh my God, you're going to go to jail. I'm fine in jail. I know those people in jail. I'm comfortable over there. I throw it in the garbage because they're not going to pick me be on a jury anyway. So a jury, you can have a jury of your peers, and they'll come and you're in trouble, and they'll make a decision after they hear all the evidence whether you're guilty or what. So a grand jury is a jury of folks that are picked from the community that are the only eyes. They're the only set of eyes on a corrupt government, or keeping a government honest, that the public has. It's the only set. And they're allowed to go into areas that you and I out there in the public are not allowed to go in and ask questions about. And they take complaints from the public and all kinds of people, maybe even from the government, and say, this happened. I think you should look into this. I think you should look into that. And so then they pick and choose what they want to look into. And so the other day, I wanted to figure out how come this grand jury report in Sutter County, after they worked on it, got deep-sixed, got kiboshed. It's like sealed. No one can look at it. It's like we're not privileged. I wanted to know, so I emailed Chuck Smith, who's a public information officer for Sutter County, because a while back, the people at Sutter County, all the politicians over there said, hey, we don't like you calling us. You need to go through Chuck Smith. So I said, fine. I said, my problem is I'm working after hours. You guys always just work 8 to 5. You're hirelings. The Bible calls you a hireling, right? You're just in it for the money, and you work just that way. And when you get off work, hey, screw it. We're not doing anything after work. But Chuck says to me, call me anytime you want, or email me anytime you want. So when I called him, I went to voicemail. It said the voicemail box full. This is a public information officer making over $100,000 a year, right? The voicemail box full. So I text Chuck. I said, Chuck, by the way, I want to comply with all these regulations of government, but your voicemail's box full. Sorry, pal. Anyway, I emailed Chuck the other day because I'm following protocol, and I said, could you tell me why the grand jury report is not going to be released? That's what I'm hearing. I don't know that it's the truth, Chuck. Again, it's just Lou who always makes the wrong conclusions and gives the wrong facts. So I'm just trying to find out if this is true. I keep hearing there's not going to be a grand jury report. Judge Heckman got the kibosh on her. Judge Aronson, our Judge Persky, he's taken over, and he put the kibosh on the report and won't release it. And the grand jury all resigned. Damn it. Is that true? I don't know whether it's true. That's what people are saying. He says, I'm not the spokesperson. I'm Sutter County spokesperson, but I'm not the spokesperson for the grand jury, because the grand jury investigates the government, and we can't have control of the government, and so that's that. I said, oh. So then I emailed back. I said, then who is the spokesperson for the grand jury? Because how does someone like just simple old me? I'm a dropout, right? So I'm slower than the average duck. So how does a person find out what exact happened? Or are we not supposed to ask questions like, that time in your life when you weren't supposed to ask where a baby comes from? So he says, after I asked him that, he says, maybe Judge Aronson could answer that. Now, have you ever tried to get a hold of a judge? Who would you call? Do you have the judge's phone number? Is that listed on the internet? Is that listed at Sutter County judge's site? His email over there? No. So I thought and thought and thought. And so finally I wrote Chuck back and I said, hey, Chuck, you guys at Sutter County Supervisors just gave the grand jury $10,000. Do you know anything about that? And he says, well, yeah, Lou, I spoke too soon. Actually, we fund that whole operation over there, but we don't have anything to do with it. So I'm not the but we do fund it. We spent over $50,000 in funding the grand jury. Did you hear what I'm saying? People in Sutter County, over $50,000 of your money funded the grand jury report, of which you'll never see it. It was a total waste of time. And so some people in Sutter County in the higher ups, you can start guessing who that might be, didn't want that to come out because it doesn't look good on the folks that are ruling over us. And so you ain't going to see that grand jury unless it's leaked out. So I got Judge Anderson's number, and I dial him up. And he answered. He said, I can't comment about that. Can't comment about that. Can't comment about that. Can't comment about that. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. You know something, people? This isn't the only issue. We got a screwed up government from the federal government on down. These people have cut, they're sitting at lunch. I think we need a raise. Oh, okay, let's all raise our supervisors. I think we ought to raise. Jim Winter, I think we ought to have a raise. Okay, let's have a raise. Let's just bless ourselves. The state government, I think we ought to have a raise. We'll have a little committee discuss it, then we'll have a raise. So we'll have a raise. They just had a raise. It's interesting, isn't it? So here's what happens, folks. What happened? Let's just go over what happened this last year. We had Donnell Stylos, who was the community development, community services head, arrested by Jason Parker and crew at the Sutter County District Attorney's Office for fraud. That doesn't make your heart leap for joy, does it, when top people in your county are arrested for fraud? She lied. She was supposed to live in Sutter County, but instead she thought, screw it, I don't have to live in Sutter County. So she gives up. She gives a fraudulent address that turned out to be the former Sutter County fire chief. Shame on him, complicit in the whole thing. They cut him slack, let him go. And so she's living in Sacramento. I don't care whether she lives in outer Slumbodia. I'm just saying she's a liar. But lying is no big deal today. Cheating and lying and being in government is no big deal today. They're all liars. And so they arrested her. So that was one issue that's been being wrestled over. Let's just talk about the controversies. Jim Whitaker's another controversy. We got an innumerable number for you and Oliver's. That means a lot of them. That said, he grabbed my tits. He grabbed my butt. I don't know what else he grabbed, but and people say, oh well, people just want money. That's all they want. These women just want money. They want attention. Come on, man. Some of you people out there need to check yourself into a damn Alzheimer's operation. We got women from 14 to 40 coming in from all over the place. They're not asking for any money. They're just saying, this guy's a pervert. And you know something? The average electorate is so clueless, they'll reelect the dude to office. Watch and see. Even if he gets kicked out of being a teacher. So we got the Jim Whitaker situation. We got all kinds of situations with Jim Whitaker, but because Jason Parker got canned, it pretty much put the kibosh on all these political cases because he was working on a bunch of those. Interesting, isn't it? So I'll get to Parker in a second. Gene Jordan. Gene Jordan is the county counsel who's been accused of lying, according to people that have been talking to me. May I Is it my opinion? That's all it is, my opinion. Because, we haven't got a grand jury report. These people were sworn to secrecy, confidentiality, to research all this, take sworn testimony, and not guess, not share, not print rumor, not write accusations, but just state a report, state facts in a report, and produce it. No. So Gene Jordan is being accused of lying. In fact, I believe that Jason Parker, when he was interviewed by the grand jury, probably said, Jason Parker, who was the chief investigator for Sutter County, essentially would be called a whistleblower. Do you know what a whistleblower is? That's what we kind of all say is a good thing from the outside, but they rarely survive. It's almost an extinct species, whistleblowers. There's actually a Whistleblower Act that's supposed to protect a whistleblower. A whistleblower is someone who works for government that says, hey, that guy's getting paid, but he never comes to work. Like that guy that worked for the EPA. Never went to work. Got paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Hey, that guy is having sex with somebody or molesting somebody over here or sexually harassing somebody. Or hey, that person's stealing money like Carl Adams was, taking money from victim witness and using it over in the DA's office when Elizabeth Pollard was a whistleblower. Do you notice that whistleblowers always lose their jobs? Jason Parker found there were some gnarly stuff going on in the DA's office and with Gene Jordan regarding the Anu Chopra case. You remember Anu Chopra? She's a lady that got canned over there at the district attorney's office, then filed a lawsuit. And then they could have settled that lawsuit because they decided they were going to settle a lawsuit, although they claimed, we're going to fight it. We're going to fight it tooth and nail. We're going to fight it on the beach. We're going to fight her in the mountains. We're going to fight her in the valleys. And then they said, we'll just settle this. But it's interesting, the timing of the settlement. The timing of the settlement was such that she could not run against Amanda Hopper. And Gene Jordan and Amanda Hopper made sure that this was perfectly timed. Amanda Hopper is the serving district attorney, and Gene Jordan is the county counsel. It's just amazing. Shazam! Old Gomer Pyle would say, Shazam, Shazam, Shazam. How these things work out. So when there began to be problems in the district attorney's office between the district attorney and Mr. Parker, he did a whistleblow. And the interesting thing about it is his accusations were against Gene Jordan, and you know who was assigned to investigate his accusations? Gene Jordan. That would be like if you remember when we had the problem with Feather River air quality at Glad Tidings. Feather River air quality came and they said to Glad Tidings, the burn pile you got burning there, you didn't do it right, so we're charging you $900. We thought they were just giving us a warning. Then we got a $900 bill. So I said, I don't want to pay the bill because I was in charge back then. And the guy says, you got to pay the bill. I said, no, I don't have to pay the bill. I don't agree with your assessment. And I said, I want to appeal. And he says, I said, who do I go to appeal? He said, you can appeal. I said, okay, who do I appeal to? He says, me. That would be like the cop giving you a ticket. And then when you appeal, you show up at the courthouse and he's the guy you appeal to. And then once you get done, he is the jury to send you to jail, right? So Jason Parker's complaints of improper behavior, one of his was against Gene Jordan herself, and she turns around is the one investigating him. Is that screwy or what? So that was part of this grand jury investigation of Gene Jordan. Now I'm told that Gene Jordan sent a letter, this is the county council, to the grand jury threatening them that if anything gnarly was in that report and somebody wanted to sue them, did you know that if you're on the grand jury, by the way, you people that just got impaneled, I would resign. You new people that just got impaneled on that Sutter, I would resign. They're not going to hold you. They don't have your back. You could get sued, and they will sue you unless you want to do some namby-pamby like complain like, Well, we're gonna ask a lot of questions. They painted the courthouse the wrong color. Who cares, right? As long as you do stuff that nobody cares about, they will like say, "Oh, what a wonderful grand jury you were." But Gene Jordan says that as county counsel, if there's stuff in there and you get a lawsuit filed against you, the county will not defend you. Do you know what the grand jury laws, the code says? If you obey all the rules of the grand jury and state testimony and fact that you know that's been testified to, you're good to go, and the county has to defend you. But Gene Jordan, I am told, sent a letter to every grand jury person saying, we ain't backing you up. More right after this. So we got to take a break. Wikiman says we got to take a break. Be right back.
I paid my income tax today.
All right. Did you pay your income tax? A lot of the IRS agents don't pay their income taxes. Did you know that? Hell no, they don't pay it. They're the government. Remember Tim Geithner, the head of the Treasury, that was appointed head of the Treasury, served under Obama until he decided to move on to the Federal Reserve? He didn't pay his taxes. They called him on it. They never even threw him out as a disqualified candidate. He just said, oh, I must have made a mistake. Like Amanda Hopper. Must have made a little mistake. Well, I was talking about the grand jury, and I was saying that they just, after Aronson, Judge Aronson came in, and he's the cleaner or the fixer. You know how they have fixers in the mafia? A fixer is a person that just come and assassinate somebody to fix a problem. A cleaner or a fixer. So in Sutter County, they have cleaner judges, fixers. They come in and fix a problem that was allowed to occur under another judge. So we had a problem under Heckman. Aronson sounds like he came in and he was the cleaner, and then once he got it cleaned up, then Heckman came back and swore in the new people. Now, if you're all mad out there and say, that ain't right, well, then just tell us what right is. Just tell us what happened. Why don't you be transparent? Since you're not going to be transparent, just like Laura Nicholson, former editor of the Appeal Democrat, is, if you're not going to tell the story, people will come up with a story on their own. Here we go. We're going to talk more about the story. So after Judge Aronson got through with his cleaning job, Heckman came back and swore in the new 2018-2019 grand jury. If I was on the grand jury today, I would resign already because they're not going to back you up. Gene Jordan threatened with a letter, I'm told, that said, if you put out this report and somebody sues you, do you know who that somebody might have been? That would be District Attorney Hopper. That'd be one of them. If somebody sues you, we're not going to defend you with taxpayer money. Now, do you know when she said we or the county? She wasn't speaking for the supervisors because I don't think the supervisors know that letter went ever out to the grand jury. Now, isn't that interesting? You know, when you elect people to run the county, you think they're running the county, but they aren't. Government bureaucrats are. They've taken over from elected officials. The Constitution says the elected officials should run the county, but then the bureaucrats just says, I'm going to do this, screw you. I'll give you an example. Both Yuba County and the city of Marysville, remind me where I left off, will you, Wiki? Because I'm just going to give you an example of bureaucrats don't give a crap what the politicians say or the elected officials. So Yuba County, both Yuba County and Marysville runs all their legal ads through the Appeal Democrat. And Yuba County used to run all theirs, and then some of them have switched over and run some of them into the Territorial Dispatch. Now you think, what's the point? Are you prejudiced because you write for the Territorial? I don't really give a crap. I write for the Territorial. Some people say, oh, do you own the Territorial? You make a lot of money there, so you're prejudiced. Actually, it costs me money to do anything I do. But let me explain this to you. The city council told the management of the city to run ads, their legal ads, wherever they could get the best buy. You think Billy Fangman and Walter Munchheimer gave a crap what the city council said? Hell no. They just did what they wanted to do. And the city of Marysville, when all these bureaucrats say, oh, we're running out of money. We need more of your money, money, money. And then they spend 35, 40% more for a legal ad in the Appeal Democrat. I'm not against the Appeal Democrat. I don't want it to close down. I hope it's successful. I like it. I like the daily paper. I like what they write a lot of times. I mean, I think we need newspaper coverage. We need media. So, and in Yuba County, they're pissed off at the territorial, so they practice what we call crony capitalism. And so instead of the supervisors telling the department heads, make the best buy you can. It's the taxpayers' money, and that's who we're representing. Instead of that, they say, well, John Missler, the owner, well, we don't really like him. Really? That's what it is? You shouldn't even have that right to go there. If Robert Bendorf, who's making over $300,000, probably around $300,000 a year about now, if he wants to spend his own money to benefit, if he wants to donate money to the Appeal Democrat, and he hates the territorial, God bless him. It's his life. It's freedom, right? If he wants to run his own personal ads, or he wants to take out full-page ads in the Appeal Democrat, good for him. But when you're dealing with the taxpayers' money, it's incumbent. It's ethical. It should be legal for you to get the best buy that you can. But instead, they don't do that. But they claim they're running out of money. So Dan Mirswa, the treasurer, says this. This is amazing. You'd think these people are smart, but they aren't. I can't remember exactly how I got over here, but anyway, I'm going to finish this because it's an important point that fits into the whole thing. Dan Mears was the treasurer. You'd think the sharpest guy, the money guy, just like we just had the auditor controller Sutter County on here earlier. He's a sharp guy. He's a CPA. That's a hard road to hoe if you want to get that degree and pass that exam. So Dan Mears was the treasurer. He says that, the reason I use the Appeal Democrat is they have better circulation. Dan can't find his butt with both hands. The Appeal Democrat has no circulation in the foothills. Now, you think he'd know that, being a sharp guy as he is. And it doesn't have as much circulation as the territorial. My point is that people are making really horrible decisions and just making up excuses for them. Now, where was I? You remember where I was? So Gene Jordan sent a threatening letter telling the grand jury that the county wouldn't spend the money to defend them. What would you feel like? Here you serve for a year, you work your tail off. But even if you didn't work your tail off, here you are in the grand jury, right? They're going to issue this report, and your signature's on it because everybody's got to sign it to go out, right? And you think, wow, I'm just kind of making it in life. I got a girl in college. I got a sick kid. We're paying on her house. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Money's tight. And they say, oh, you may get caught up in a lawsuit. Oh, pretty easy to intimidate people. These legal people in government, it's interesting to me, government people, when they want to get into a lawsuit with you, they get all puffed up, all big, old, and buff. Because whose money are they spending suing you? They're spending your money. Whose money are you spending defending yourself? You're spending your money, right? So you think, oh my God, the district attorney would sue me and my husband and my kids? Yeah, she might. You think the grand jury code says that the county has an obligation to defend you as long as you follow all the rules, right? In other words, you just don't make up stuff. If somebody comes in and testifies this and that, well, that's their testimony under oath. You didn't make it up, but you can understand how people got the hell scared out of them, right? Oh, well, this. Did Gene Jordan have a right to, these bureaucrats? I think the how I got over on the thing with Yuba County is, and the legal ads is these bureaucrats are running the counties. The supervisors and the city councils are supposed to be making the decisions, and the bureaucrats are supposed to be following their directives. They aren't. They do what they darn well please. So you would think that Gene Jordan, who's the county counsel for the Board of Supervisors, right? Like one day I asked her a question about the board, and she wouldn't answer because she said, I represent the board. I said, okay, good. You represent the board. You would think that the county council would have submitted to her bosses the idea of, I think I'm going to send a letter over there because. But no, I don't think she did. So the idea is that they started getting threats over there at the grand jury, and then maybe Sarah Heckman, the judge, felt a little overwhelmed, and so they rolled in Brian Aronson, the other judge, who then began to, for instance, there is no official. If you look online in Sutter County, you'll find they say we're not putting out a report this year. I may have said this already, but forgive me if I repeat myself. Grand juries can research stuff all year, but they're not required to put out a report if they decide, everything, it's like utopia here. There's nothing to talk about, right? There's nothing wrong. Everybody is just smelling nice. They take a shower every day, wear deodorant. Everybody's good. Every penny is accounted for. People are nice to one another. Nobody grabs each other's tits. And so, we're not going to, the declaration by Judge Aronson, we're not putting out a report. Well, the grand jury resigned. They did all their work. They made a report. And then when they realized their work was going to be thrown in the garbage, they resigned. But shazam, a report showed up. The Board of Supervisors have a report, but page 5, page 6, page 7, pages 27 through 105 are all missing. 137 pages. Now, why, if they're not putting out a report, why would they give a Board of Supervisors? Why didn't they just do a clean sweep? Just said, the whole year was just a piece of crap, or everything is just so wonderful in Sutter County, we can't find a thing to talk about. So I mentioned earlier that we had the Danelle Stylos case. We got accusations. We got the Jason Parker incident. Jason Parker, I know for a fact, I don't know what happened in that, because no one has violated any confidentiality with me, including Judge Aronson. And so, and I talked to the other people. I'll just leave it at that. And everybody is following the law. The problem is all these people that the report was about didn't follow the law. Danelle Stylos lied about what she was up to, lied on her concealed weapon permit, lied on her DMV location, lied on her voting, right? Lie. Oh, but she's such a nice woman. She's kind of hot looking. Oh yeah, people are just, wow. Oh, I can't believe you arrested her. But let me do that. See what you say about me. Danelle Stylos, Gene Jordan lying. These are like people making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Amanda Hopper, up to all kinds of foolishness over there in the district attorney's office. Jim Whitaker. Depositions going on. We're spending, I'll bet we spend $500,000 before we get done with Whitaker. Do you know what I mean? They were having depositions all week on Jim Whitaker. Women coming in to depositions before union attorneys, big union attorneys, tough guys, really tough guys that go home at night and get all liquored up and smoke weed and stuff. But they're tough. They wear fancy suits when they come and talk to you. Oh yeah, they're when they drop dead and you bury them, they look just like a regular old homeless person. They're just a naked old person. Put them up there at the morgue. They don't look like they got a degree or anything. Pages 5, 6, 7, 27 through 105, all missing from the supervisor's version. So we got no version. We got the supervisor's version, and then we got the real McCoy. The Dead Sea Scrolls, right? Out there. Like, let's leak it, right? Somebody said to me, I talked to one of my friends who used to be on the Sutter County Grand Jury. I said, honey, how's that confidentiality clause where you sign that? Is that like you're going to your deathbed on that? She said, Lou, I can't even remember what that exactly says. I signed it. I kept everything confidential, but I don't know whether you got to keep it confidential for the rest of your life or not. Let me ask you this. When the government is breaking the rules, right? They use the rules against you to hide corruption. They use the rules against you to hide corruption. When they do that, do you still have to obey the rules? I think screw it. All bets are off, dude. You're going to go nutso? I'm not going to play by the rules either. You want to come over into my lane? Right? You want to come over into my lane? Come over. You want to break the rules? I'm breaking the rules. It's okay. You know, a lot of these people in government are sissies. They couldn't hang in private industry. It's just too rough. It's too gnarly. It's too competitive. And so they hide behind the shield of, we can't talk about that. Well, there's a rule about that. Well, you have to wait 10 days. Well, we have to have the county council read that. Just anybody can't. You just can't. We just can't talk to you. You're a citizen. You're just a citizen. Like a nobody. Right? Like we're somebody. I fly up here from Ventura. Like I'm somebody. Do you remember the days, by the way, when firefighters used to live in the community? They used to live down the street. They used to live next door. You know, firefighters today are making so much money. They live in gated communities and they travel. They fly to do their shifts. Fly in, drive in. They're not even a part of the community. They don't spend money here. They don't invest their time here. They're not coaching Little League. It's amazing. Yeah, I'm not saying they're bad people. Some of my close friends are firefighters and cops. My close friends. I like the industry. I like the occupation. But there's something wrong with the salary scheme when you're dropping people when people are making $250,000 a year fighting fire. That's a bad sign, people. We're not able to sustain that. Somebody, politicians are making those decisions and they every year, you know why they keep giving the raises? Because they want to keep getting elected. Oh, well, we got to keep getting. Well, that's the way it is. That's the way. You got. It's amazing to me. I've always lived. I've never really been interested in money. I'm just wired that way. It isn't. I'm not a good person because of it. I never cared about it. So when somebody says they're making $250,000, I want a 3% raise. I think, what are you going to do with that money? It's like, how many times a day do you eat? How many cars do you need? Like, I just sleep in one bedroom. I don't need to have 5 bedrooms to move around in. Like, I think I'll try the west bedroom tonight. I think I'll go sleep in my country home today. I don't have any problem with bajillionaires either. But it's like, if I want to buy an antibiotic that saves my life, that created a bajillionaire, good for him. But where I'm paying taxes and somebody's becoming millionaires off me, and then they're asking me for more taxes, that don't make no damn sense to me. If you want to go out and create a cancer-killing product, make $1 billion. God bless you. You saved humanity. But you're fighting fire. You're a cop. You're a bureaucrat. And you're making $250,000 a year. And you want me to pay more money? I ain't never going to support that. I may always lose, but you'll never get my vote. Do I support you in what you do? I think you should get paid well. Yeah. What is well? I talked to a guy one day. I'm sure he thought he's worth $1 million. One firefighter said to me, he said, well, I said, how come, they were having cutbacks at Yuba City, and he was bummed. He said, there's low morale in the department. I said, why? I said, how much you make? Oh, you make over $100,000 a year. I said, you got health insurance still? You got that. And I said, pretty good. He said, hey, we got firefighters today, we have 4-year degrees. I thought, you know something? If I was younger, I think I could do that job, and I don't have no 4-year degree. We're going to be right back, and we got another half show to go. I don't even know what I'm going to talk about. Well, I just got sent to me at least a portion of a response from Yuba County. They're on their the multi-million-dollar team going around saying we're broke and we need more of your money to support us. And so this citizen of Yuba County sent in a records request to find out who is sending out all these flyers from the county. They're from the county. So the county's sending them out. So who's paying for it and what fund is funding it? Because you're lobbying for more taxes, and that's illegal. But, of course, government can say, well, it's not quite illegal when we do it just because we did it just the right way. Now, I'm not going to read this whole letter because it's written by an attorney, and they're parsing words, okay? So this was a request, just a simple request. How much is being paid to print all these flyers, print and mail them? And where's that funds? What funds are that? Did Robert Bendorf come out of his pocket or the supervisors? So I'm just going to read some of this and tell you how our government is not what it used to be. It says the County of Yuba received your California Public Record Act request dated June 4 and received June 11. Specifically, request seeks copies of public records that pertain to the Yuba County 911 mailer survey. As you know, CPRA requires, I won't go into all the details, requires disclosure upon request of most publicly maintained records. However, under Government Code, a public records request must reasonably describe an identifiable record or records. In other words, the CPRA does not require an agency to prepare new records in response to requests or to compile, synthesize, summarize, or on and on. It ends up saying the responsive records will be, this is like 3 pages later. Responsive records will be made available for copying by August 3rd. I want you to think about that, people. I was watching a clip. Was it Trey Gowdy interviewing Rob Rosenstein, the Assistant Attorney General? That guy's such a piece of crap, Rob Rosenstein. He looks like he should be a comic, not a legal beagle. And at one point, Trey Gowdy, who is the congressman from South Carolina and used to be a prosecutor, he said, there's a saying that says, justice delayed is justice denied. When we have a government that you ask on June 4th, you ask, and they get the letter, because you can't just tell them on the phone. You got to send in an official letter and spell it out. And they get it on June 11th. June 11th, July 11th. We're already up to August 3rd. They're gonna give us some records that we can copy, we being the general public. And then it says, ask for a request for fee waiver. Please allow the county to complete gathering. Anyway, honestly, people, that's where we are so far. That's just on. I just want to know how much this is costing sending me all these flyers and who's paying for it. Pretty simple. But they go into this big detail here as you're not being specific, and there's exemption and there's client, there's, what do you call it? Counsel client privilege. That's what Gene Jordan gave me. There's client counsel privilege that I can't give you this information because I work for the Board of Supervisors. That's what we're dealing with, people. These people are in power. You think, oh, that sounds like a dictator. No, that's true. These people are in power. They're not serving you. They're not public servants. They're ruling. They are in power. Try crossing them. They'll be suing your rear end. Ask the grand jury. You know somebody on the grand jury that just resigned? Ax them, as some of my friends say. Ax them. Just ax one of those grand jury people, and they will tell you they scared the hell out of me. I'm sorry I ever got on that grand jury. The people that are serving now should resign in respect for the previous grand jury. Say, oh, you screwed them? You're not screwing me. Do your own grand jury. Put out your own report. Just make up stuff. Just pick some county employees and go over there and just crank out some crap and send it to us. Right? Justice delayed, justice denied. If that was a lady that wrote for that public record stuff, I'd tell them to shove that paperwork up their butt. It's ridiculous. August 3rd. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And then they're going to get all huffy and puffy. Oh, he's out of line. He's out of control. Well, we're not going to support trauma intervention program. Screw it. Don't support it. Yeah. Go out. You don't respond to the calls. You don't do nothing for people anyway. Oh, we're not. Oh, we're going to try to hurt him. We're going to try. Oh, well, he's like getting up. He's a bean up our nose. Honestly, people, I would not serve on a grand jury in Sutter County. It's corrupt. It's corrupt. When you have the county council out of line, the county council's job is on the line. That's why she's trying to save her little rear end over there. She's out of her lane. Same way with Amanda Hopper. Let me tell you this. I got a report on this. Jason Parker is suing. There's a number of people. It just, by the way, they're worried about what they're paying. They don't have enough money to pay the Sutter County firefighters. They gave a new Chopra $350,000 to walk away and not run against Amanda Hopper right now in that last election. That would fund a firefighter or so. But they are getting sued left and right because people are misbehaving and not taking care of business. I remember, well, anyway, I won't get into too many details, but the recent hearing, Jason Parker, hold on here. Well, I'll wait and look at this at the break. I just got a text. Jason Parker tried everything in his power to remediate for you and Oliver and Linda, that sort out any differences with Amanda Hopper. There wasn't no remediation. He went to he reached out to when he realized he had a problem with Gene Jordan, he reached out to the county administrator. When he also tried to reach out to the Board of Supervisors to appeal, because when you're an employee, there's all kinds of options, right? You just don't, if you get into logger's head, you have a difficulty with a department head, there are ways to remediate that or sort it out. And so after taking all kinds of efforts because he didn't want to lose his job. He liked his job and was good at his job. So when he tried everything he could, then he got an attorney. And any supervisor that said that Parker didn't try to reach out to them and explain things to them is a liar. The bad thing for all you guys in Sutter County is Parker is an investigator and he kept all the details. And some of you supervisors ain't that sharp. You may run your own business, but you ain't that sharp. And at the end of the day, you're going to get your clock cleaned on this one. And so at the recent court hearing that is now before a Sacramento judge, County Counsel Jordan and the Human Resources Romeo, they went down there and thought they're going to just toss a report when they hired this investigator to do a report on Parker and the rest of the situation. Remember, Parker whistle blew on Jordan, and then Jordan was tasked to investigate Parker. That ain't right. Right? That's like accusing somebody of something and then having him move in with you. So they got down there to the courthouse in Sacramento, and they thought they were just going to toss that report to this judge, and that would be the end of the story on Parker. And the judge says, obviously, ladies, you don't know what you're doing here today. This is a full-blown court case, and you'll be given testimony. I don't even want to see that report. So stand up and tell me your business. And they started arguing with the judge, and he said, by the way, where is the district attorney who didn't even show up? Because she thought, hey, I don't need to go down to this. And the judge says, they tried to put it off like, oh, well, you know, we're not really prepared for this. Well, he said, you're not going to get a continuance. This is the day that the Lord has made. Today we're going to deal with this. So stand up and testify or forever hold your peace. And they called Amanda Hopper, and she scurried down to Sacramento to testify. You know something? When you have people at the top of your government of Sutter County that don't even know jack diddly about the court system, and there two of them are attorneys, Hopper and Jordan, and this human resources gal, Romeo, she's supposed to be like an expert. She makes over $100,000 a year. She's supposed to know something about the legalities and the processes and the administrative protocols of hiring, firing, complaints, the rules you have to follow. There's a lot of rules. And they go down there and a judge and try to jack a Sacramento administrative law judge or whatever he was around. I would say that they swung and missed down there, folks, over there in Sutter County. I think probably I think the ruling will come out in August. About the time we get the information, or maybe it's October. I think it's October the ruling's going to come out on the Parker case. I wish the guy would take about $500,000 from Sutter County and give Parker his job back and can the district attorney. That's what I would hope. But I doubt that he's going to get his job back. We just, it just don't work out that way. Whistleblowers get washed down the tube. That's just the way that works. Now, I just got a text, and I don't know, because I'm not a techie, I'm not sure I can bring it up as fast as I normally, that a little guy could. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's see. This says there are 166 pages in the original document. That's the grand jury document. The 130-plus document is the second version. It says, when you ask for its preservation, be specific for the original report. It says it blasted Hopper and Jordan and was very favorable towards Parker, Cervantes, and Garamore. It says they even, there was even some comments about Danelle Stylos. And the attorney, remember the additional $10,000 that was, remember there was over, I think it was, I have the documents on my computer. Chuck Smith, the public information officer for Sutter County, provided them. I think the budget was like $43,000 to $45,000 for the year for the grand jury, but then they asked for an additional $10,000, and when the supervisor says, "What for?" They said, "We need to hire outside counsel." So they hired a guy named Chuck Poulos, who actually, Chuck was an attorney that served on the Yuba County Grand Jury as the jury foreman, I think, at one time. So he knows his way around. He's a good attorney. And he was called in as what they call neutral counsel for that $10,000. So that's just some extra information. So there's all kinds of versions of this report. The full meal deal is 166 pages. So what we have is a Judge Aronson being brought in to clean up the deal. There was an article in January where Scott Mitnick says this was a request from the grand jury. Mitnick said it's possible that the county attorney, Scott Mitnick is the county administrator for those in other cities and counties around the valley. You guys got the same kind of problems, you're just not digging into them. Mitnick said it's possible that the county attorney assigned to aid the grand jury. What kind of aid is she, man? She's a target of the grand jury. They're investigating her. Assigned to aid the grand jury may have had a conflict. I would think so. Hello? Like knowing an individual involved with the investigation. Jean Jordan was part of the investigation, and she's supposed to be advising the grand jury. That's why they hired Chuck Poulos. The grand jury operates, he said, around 40. It's actually over 40, so it ended up to 50,000. So it says this year the grand jury's overseen, they're talking about last year, or this year we just passed. It's overseen by the family law judge, Sarah Heckman. Obviously, she got kicked to the curb in favor of Aronson to clean up the mess and to sort this thing out. So, anyway, interesting goings on. So, until the only way we're going to see that is if somebody who has a copy leaks it. And if y'all want to leak on me, my email is loubenninger@gmail.com. LOUBINNINGER@gmail.com. Or you can just drop one at 630 11th in Marysville on the blue chair. That's where everybody drops all their stuff. Just leave that in the middle of the night and as a package, and I will do it. 630 11th in Marysville. I don't think the tweakers will take it. They'll only take used shoes and drinks. All right. So, man, all day. Santos said, "Are you sure you got enough to talk about today?" I got a list of like 15 or 16 things. This darn grand jury thing's got my interest, and this ripoff over here in Yuba County. These people they're going to kick us in the teeth on this 1% sales tax, and they're going to make it sound like, if you don't vote for this, if you have a heart attack, call Sacramento. That's what they're going to call Nevada County. What are you saying? Oh, casino. Ray from Edgewater keeps harping on me about the casino, so I asked Santos, remind me about the casino. We got a few minutes. I'll carry this over after the 11 o'clock break. But Ray, God bless you, man. Here's the latest. Mary Jane Griego got rejected by the voters because really she's a criminal and unethical. And but she couldn't stand it, so she got her foot back in by getting on the board of Oliver's Public Utility District. She'd been getting paid off by the Indian tribe that has the casino out there on 40 Mile Road. They want to build that casino, the Maidu tribe. And so she finagled the tribe to make an agreement for firefighting services with Oliver's Fire rather than the jurisdiction that the casino was located in, which is Wheatland Fire. So now, wouldn't you know it, I told you, I hate to say this, but back in 2002, I said this thing is going to cost the taxpayer millions of dollars. Mary Jane's going to make money. Her butt and her pockets are getting bigger all the time. And so, because she's packing in that money. And so, so what's going on here is the Wheatland Fire is filed a lawsuit against Oliver's Public Utility District. Now, who do you think is paying for both sides of that lawsuit? Not the engines. That would be you and me. That would be the taxpayers that are funding Wheatland Fire and the taxpayers that are paying for Oliver's Public Utility District. And those Maidu boys are just sitting back, smoking their cigars and drinking their Royal Crown and just having a good time, and just they say, hey, not our problem. And it's interesting, you know, because Mary Jane, she actually drafted the memorandum of understanding that has caused all this confusion. When you hire a fry cook to do legal work, that's a bad juju right there. So that's a bad juju. But in Yuba County, that's what we did. We had a weights and measures guy and a fry cook design the memorandum of understanding between a sovereign nation and the taxpayers of Yuba County. Now, that's the kind of service you get when these guys were getting $80,000 a year. And fry cook, yeah, I know how to make some good recipes. Oh, yeah, I think I can do that. I think I can do that. My dad used to tell me, my dad was a butcher, and he says, Luke, because he was good at cutting apart animals, he could he knew all the organs of the body and everything. He said, don't ever get appendicitis, because he said, I'm going to do that one myself on you. He said, I'll just lay you up on the table. I can pull appendicitis. I got that. The rest of them we send to the hospital. So the fry cook says, I got this MOU. I got it, right? Just so happens that she left it where they could just pick any old fire department they wanted. They wanted to bring an outer Slombodian fire department in to do it. No problem, right? We'll be right back. We got one more hour to go. I don't know how we're going to hang. We've got to find something to talk about. You're listening to Live with Lou. This is KMYC 1410 AM, The Patriot. I think somebody told me one time we're supposed to say that a couple times when we do this show. So there you go. If you want to catch us later, if you think, oh, man, I forgot what he said, or maybe said this, or I hate what he said, or somebody should listen to it, you can go to One Eye Blind Media. If you want to sue me, go over to One Eye Blind Media. Let's do that. Or arrest me. That's fine. One Eye Blind Media on YouTube, you can listen to it. They have to edit it a little bit over there because some of these clips we play, they're copyrighted for YouTube's purposes. They're all right for us, but I'm taking a sip of Big Tom Huth's coffee that he provides. It's our pay here. We get smokehouse almonds and coffee. But the rest of the thing, we're on our own. Popeyes went out of business. We used to like winter chicken dinner, right? But no chicken dinner. One time I brought Popeyes, but I don't even think we have a chicken restaurant place in Marysville anymore. You have to go, Popeyes out in Linda. They got Popeyes in Linda. I don't even like that food. Kentucky Fried, I got to go to Vietnam to get Kentucky. We need a Chick-fil-A. What's up with Chick-fil-A? The liberals love to hate Chick-fil-A. I wish we had a Chick-fil-A. I'd eat there every day. Eat some of that chicken. Well, we've been talking about a government, and there's sort of a standoff right now, isn't there? And let's see. The latest, the size of this document keeps increasing. this grand jury report. What we want is the original 166 pages. I gave you my address, 630 11th Street. There's a blue chair right behind Taco Bell. Some of you eat over there at the Dragon Inn, and I'm right around the corner. I can smell them cooking over there each day. It's hard to take, actually. But you can drop that 166 pages off of my front porch, or you can email it to me at Lou Benninger, LOUBINNINGER @gmail.com, or you could snail mail it to P.O. Box 88, Marysville. P.O. Box 88, Marysville. And that will help me. And in fact, it's not about helping me. There's plenty to talk about. In fact, I got a week's worth of stuff to talk about here. I'm not bragging. It's just there's a lot going on. But this is really important, and you would help Sutter County residents. You know, nobody wins when you end up in a person when you end up with a person in authority that is corrupt, that is dishonest, that is unethical, that is a pervert. Everybody loses. Not just the people who get touched, messed with, lied about, jerked around, fired unjustly. And Elizabeth Pollard, who worked for God's sake, Elizabeth Pollard is a very fine lady. And I met her at trauma intervention, and she was volunteering at trauma intervention. She wanted to learn how to help people. And she was taking psychology courses as a wife and mother, kind of a return to school lady. She was not like 19, but already raising a child and working. And she was returning to get a psychology degree because she wanted to help people that were traumatized. That was her goal in life, is people that were assaulted, trauma from some kind of an incident in their life. So she was taking a psychology course at Chico and came to trauma intervention to get some hands-on experience. So when she learned about victim services, she thought, I'd just donate my time. And so they were always looking for volunteers at victim services. So she began to volunteer for Sutter County Victim Services. And I hadn't seen her because she later resigned from TIP because of her classes that she was taking were conflicting with TIP, Trauma Intervention Program. So one day I ran into her in a grocery store, and I said, Elizabeth, how's it going? You're looking great. And I says, how's it going over there at Victim Witness, Sutter County? She says, not going at all. I said, oh, what happened? She said, I got fired. I said, don't lie to me, girl. You're not going to get fired from anybody. You're a great person, and you're a great worker, and you're donating your time. How did you get fired? She said, well, Lou, they actually hired me eventually, but she said, I became a whistleblower. They're misappropriating funds at Sutter County District Attorney's Office, and they're using victim witness funds. You know how you get a grant? You ever got a grant? And they tell you exactly how to use the funds. So the victim witness funds from the state of California are supposed to be used for victims that have been violated. But Carl Adams thought he was so powerful that he'd just do whatever he darn well please. So he started taking that money and using it for funding positions over in the DA's office. So when Elizabeth Pollard, she noticed that in doing her work as an employee, and she went to Jana McClung, who was second in charge, who's still over there working for Amanda Hopper, second in charge, and she said, hey, this is illegal. You can't do this. And Jana said, oh, I'll take care of it. I got it. Never took care of it, right? It's a bad sign when you're talking about legal people. Dishonesty, violating the law, I'll take care of it. No, take care of it. Nobody did jack. So, because there are people in government that are very honest. There are directors of departments that are very honest. There are workers that are honest as the day is long and very hard workers. And Elizabeth was one of them. And so she contacted the people that were the funding agent, I think it was Office of Emergency Services at that time, and said, we have a problem. I've done this, that, and these monies are being misused. They're not being used for victims. Once the county of Sutter was notified by that, they began to harass, pressure, make degrading remarks about Elizabeth, and then they fired her. That's what you get for being a whistleblower. Same way with Jason Parker. Tried to do the right thing, degraded. You know, I get a kick out of people I know. Oh, well, I've heard that. I've heard this about Jason. Oh, I've heard this about Jason. I heard this about Elizabeth. Oh, Elizabeth. They got fired. Elizabeth got fired. State came in, did an audit, told the county to return $80,000, over $80,000 to the state that was misappropriated. Then the State Department of Victim Witnesses, or Victim Services, then they hired Elizabeth to go to work for them. Now, that must have said something about Elizabeth's character, because Sutter County fired her because she did the right thing. The state ended up hiring her because she was willing to expose evil. I hope that works out for Jason that way. And it's amazing to me, the kiss-ass bunch in Yuba City and Sutter County that will turn on you in a heartbeat after saying you're all kinds of, oh yeah, you're great, we're dead. Oh yeah, I'm sure he's a problem, yeah. Oh yeah, they won't come to your rescue. All them government employees. I remember when Dr. Cassidy, when he worked for Yuba County, he said, Lou, so much for union employees. When the county had to cut back and they went to the union employees, oh yeah, we're for our brother. We got one another. And they gave them the option. You want to all take a pay cut, or we're going to have to lay a bunch of you off. They said, screw those people. You know who gets laid off? The last people hired, right? Even if they're the sharpest people in the bunch, even if they're harder workers, that's how union works. You wonder why government is so mediocre? You call people, they call you back a week later. Oh, well, I just got to your phone call. It's been busy, so busy here. When I worked for Glad Tidings, I think I had 4 or 5 people working under me in my little department. I told them, I said, hey, call people back immediately. The same day you get the call. Don't be missing in action for 2 weeks, for God's sake. Call people back. I don't care what their need is, call people back. Government, there's no consequences. Do I get calls right back from certain people? Absolutely. Sheriff Durfer, I call him. He's on it immediately. Why? Because we tip serves the sheriff's department. He knows I'm not calling just to jerk him around, right? Other departments, last time I called Dan Merswa, never even called me back. Treasurer, trying to get some information. Then they say, oh, well, Russ Brown, oh, well, you're like loose with the facts. Loose with the facts. We asked for information. How much did that cost? We'll get back to you in a couple months. It's like, oh, yeah, we're working our fingers to the bone over here. I think I'm going to take my life. It's so hard over here. It's too stressful. Oh, yeah. Come on, man. You guys are so full of it. I was talking to a guy. Actually, we've been emailing back and forth. This guy listens. He said, Lou, do you realize people listen from Gridley? I said, I can't. I don't even know how many people listen, right? Is there maybe 75 now? So we used to keep count, but then it got too confusing. I don't have any staff. It's just me and Wiki Man. We got to do everything. We got to run the air conditioning. We got to fix the toilet. We got to keep the electricity on out here. We got to feed the fish. It's a full-time job. So he says, Lou, we got problems in Gridley. I said, how do you have Gridley? It's like, hey, the Mormons run the place. How, it's like, how could it go right? Yeah. How could it go wrong? Like Mormons, right? It's like, hey, I don't follow what they believe. In fact, I don't do business with them. They always steal from me. But, I generally they're nice people, but unless I just don't do business with them. But I just thought, when I drive through Gridley, it looks so peaceful and everything. He said, it's crazy here. He said the police chief makes a police chief. You want to think, he's fighting a cartel on the border. No, he's like most of the people in Gridley are 105 and older. It's like 332,743 shekels he gets for what? Just 1 year, not for 10 years. 1 year. Isn't that amazing? And did you want to show me something? Oh, Wiki Man is saying if you're listening, he'll put a scratch on the wall and call and put down how many listeners there are. I don't really care whether you do or not. I'm not telling. He's saying, hey, he'll add up how many listeners today. Let me tell you about this. Is a problem, people. This is a problem much bigger than numbers and dollars and shortage of dollars. It's a problem of people being lifted up far beyond their ability to hang. This police chief, who is over a town of under 7,000 people, just over 6,000. The town is under 3 miles square. He gets $332,743. Now, this is how amazing. The salary started at about $38,000. Then he got a post-certificate incentive of $3,500. Then he got a master's degree certificate. He gets $5,800 because of that. Do you care whether a cop has a master's degree or not? Because he went to the FBI Academy, he gets $2,433 every year. Every year. It's like, I want to go to that academy. Maybe somebody give me $2,400. Longevity pay. This longevity pay thing is what's screwing the public. So if you're with the county so many years, you get an extra percent or 2% or 3%. That's where Yuba County got screwed up. They say, what they always say is, it's just more expensive to do business. Let me tell you why it's more expensive. Because you gave people longevity pay. You go back and say, we got a lot of money now in 2006, so we're going to go back, and from the time you started, we're going to kick your pay up. We're going to spike your pay by 2, 3, 4%, right? And then you take that on into retirement, and if you live to be 90, the next generation X, Y, Z, and all the rest of the alphabet are paying for you to sit over there and fart and drink beer. Longevity pay, $2,772 every year. He gets that. Management hours payout, $8,821. Vacation hours payout. Did you know that if you remember at Glad Tidings, we always got vacation pay? I never took mine, and if you remember, you use it or lose it over there, right? They say, hey, you don't want to take your vacation? We're not going to give you no money, right? It's like, hey, take a vacation, dude. Like, get out of here. Like, we don't need you. Take a break. Take a break. And I never took it because I was bored. I get bored easy. I'm kind of ADHD. I need some action. So, but in the county, you can sell your vacation back to the taxpayer. The taxpayer will pay you for your vacation. Cell phone. He gets $900 for a cell phone. Yeah. Why doesn't the county just pay for the damn cell phone? Uniform. He can't. For $332,000, he cannot buy his own darn uniform. How about this? They're chipping $300 for a gym membership. This guy is so cheap, so tight. Jesus, he talked about a hireling. We don't even use that term anymore. That's a dude that he's like, hey, man, I'm the shepherd. I got these sheep. Until the wolf shows up, he says, hey, screw the job. Just give me my money. You take care of the wolf, right? That's a hireling. They're just, as soon as at 4 o'clock, you can hear the rubber burning off the back of the car out of the parking lot at 4 o'clock. That's a hireling, right? This police chief, he's too cheap to even pay $300 for his own membership. And they're paying $31,000 a year for his health care. Let the sucker get sick and go take another job. $31,000? Retirement contribution, $67,752. That's one of them. Then there's another $7,200. Disability insurance, $1,786. Employment assistance program, in case he has, God forbid he would need any counseling. He doesn't make enough to cover his own counseling. $332,000. No, well, why should I have to pay? It was the stress of the job. It was the stress of the job. Like, why don't we come over and clean your toilets at home? Wash your dishes, clean the blinds, right? Mow your yard. Like, hey, let's get an all-encompass package. Can we do the shopping for you? Like, why put a limit on this? Let's go pick up your kids at school. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. People accept this. This is gridly. I think the people all have Alzheimer's up there or dementia. It's just like, what? The total police budget, they're spending about $1.3 million per square miles. This dude is getting more than $250,000 a year, $332,743. Now let me give you some perspective. Rob Landon, who is the chief of police of Yuba City, according to Transparent California, where they list a lot of the agencies and counties and cities and state payroll and retirement benefits. They have Rob making $278,637 and change in 2016. Now, that's Yuba City. Like, I don't know how many people are in Yuba City. What, 60,000? 10 times as much as Gridley. And Rob is suffering. Rob is suffering. He's in the poorhouse. Like, what, the city council cheap or what? He's only making $278,000, and Dean Price down there in Gridley, he's got $332,743. Now, then I looked, I said, man, Lincoln is a big old highfalutin city, right? You've been through Lincoln? I was up there, had dinner up there with my sister, up there at that, that seniors, it was a big old subdivision. It's an amazing place up there. Anyway, Lincoln, it's amazing. Doug Lee over there in Lincoln in 2017, he's the police chief up there. He only makes, I was shocked. This guy should file for food stamps and an EBT card. He only makes $171,562. I think, was this guy asleep at the wheel? Who's doing he needs a player's agent to negotiate for him. Then I looked over in Chico. I saw Chico has got to be paying the big bucks. Michael O'Brien in Chico, 2017 payroll, he's making $236,998. I don't know why they get these odd amounts. We'll just round it off to give him $250. It's like the poor guy is suffering. He's only making what? Almost $20,000 a month. How? It's just like, I'm usually at that a year. That's my annual pay. When I walk down the street, if oranges fall off somebody's tree and they're rolling across the sidewalk, I take them home. I gotta work all the angles there. So then I saw, well, what about Grass Valley? That may be a comparable city. It's small. 2016, Alexander Gamelliard. That's quite a name, Gamelliard. Alexander makes $220,106 for overseeing Grass Valley policing, 2016. How in the world did this dude over here in Gridley, Lil T Gridley, I mean, if you know how you drive sometimes and you don't fall asleep, but you can't remember how you got to there? You've been there, right? Your brain is on a low functioning, you slip in that low functioning deal. Sometimes I used to drive home from Glad Tidings. I thought, I don't even remember going through those two stoplights, right? So what's going on? And that's after I quit doing drugs. How did this dude come up this Dean Price, I don't know how good a cop he is, but that sucker, he should read, he probably helped write Art of the Deal with old Trump. That dude scored an extra $100,000 more than these other cops. Now Rob Landon got it going for him. He got $278,000. But still, old Dean Price, he picked up an extra $60,000 on top of that. This guy had the gall to hit him up for a gym membership. I wonder if they provide that double ply toilet paper. Back when I was running Morningstar Ministries, I used to buy that single ply because I thought, we don't have any money. They'd say, Lou, we just use twice as much. Just buy the double ply. It's like, hey, you stupid or what? So I said, this guy, they had to pop for a cell phone and a gym membership. You think, hey, can't everybody just have their own phone? Not a police chief. They got to have a special. He said, hey, I want an iPhone. I want the iPhone. I don't want no cheap substitute. Well, we're going to come right back, and we just like wasted all the day on talking about this government stuff. We're going to come right back, and we're going to try to land a plane in 30 minutes. This is the only thing I've agreed with Governor Brown. Governor Brown says if we're all smoking marijuana, who's going to run everything? That's the sanest thing he's said since I've met. I never met him, but since I learned of Governor Brown in the 1970s, I thought that's the most sensible thing he's ever said. I never have felt like I wanted to accomplish anything when I was on Panama Red. I just wanted to sit there and stare out at the Yuba River, watch the birds fly back and forth, say, oh, a fish jumped. All right, well, Yuba County, they did a big raid, and they raided a bunch of marijuana. They did a raid in a couple different cities, I guess. I don't even know whether I got it at the end down here. I thought, Ron Nelson. They went out in Wheatland. They found 80 pounds of marijuana packaged in 1-pound sacks, and they found 2 U.S. Postal Service priority shipping boxes set by the door, packed with marijuana addressed to send to Texas. You know something? We're not only sending our jobs to Texas, we're sending our marijuana down there to bless people. Because Texas, I guess, can't grow as good as marijuana as California. So, anyway, they arrested a fella down there, 44, on suspicion of selling marijuana. And they said in his garage, he also had a little, what do they call the kids in juvenile hall told me how to make honey oil. They had a honey oil lab going. And they had a lead up to a partner up in Browns Valley, and they went up there and found 3,111, not 12, 11, 3,111 plants, and arrested a guy named Mark Thalen, 57. And so anyway, Randy Fletcher's, who's our supervisor up there, he declared that the foothills were safe. And that was around the time those deputies ended up getting shot up there. Now they're using those deputies getting shot as a reason for you to raise taxes, because they're suggesting that the deputies wouldn't have been shot in Yuba County if they would have had more money in the bank. Now that is another. It's just honestly, people, you got to read, and you just got to call it as you see it. Some of when you smell somebody fart in a room, you don't have to if everybody says no, I didn't do it. Somebody's lying, right? It's because you can smell it, right? It's just like you smell somebody fart, and everybody just says no. You just shrug your shoulder. No, not on me. It's just like fresh air smells fresh, right? It doesn't smell like that. So anyway, it's telling you it's sprinkling outside, thank God, but they're really just taking a pee right on your boots on these type of things, and they're telling you, well, did you know? Like that, did you know? You Yuba County people, you got that did you know brochure, and they said, did you know that 2 deputies were shot? I thought, okay, I don't like that 2 deputies were shot. What's your point? What are you exactly saying? Well, they're just leaving it hang out there, so you think, oh, well, maybe they were shot because we don't have any money. Well, let's see. Well, how much are we paying you? Well, we're paying me $200 and... How much are we paying you? Well, we're paying $250. don't finish the sentence, right? Oh, yeah, well, but I went to college. Hello? I went to college. So let me see. I'm trying to find a spot here because I want to tell you. Have you been to the DMV lately? Did you know that Michelle Obama, when they wanted to start Obamacare and they were looking for a firm to create a national website where you buy your Obamacare insurance, remember that? And remember the website would never work and it was a big joke, and how they had Health and Human Services Sebelius got on there one day and they couldn't even get it to work when she ran it. Anyway, they spent $1/2 of $1 billion and gave it to a high school buddy of Michelle Obama, or a college buddy, that has a company that supposedly could make that website. Now, it's interesting. Have you ever had a problem, much of a problem? I really haven't. I mean, there could be a problem anywhere, right? But constant problems with things like Amazon.com or Lands End or any of the online buying things where you go online and buy stuff. It's so simple. It's just like they got thousands of products and you can have it shipped in a variety of ways and you can send it to another person if you want. You can do all this. You can get a charge card. You can do this. It works good. In fact, in like 24, 48 hours, then the time I think about something, it's on my front porch. It's a miracle. My parents my parents have been dead for decades. They would not believe what's going on in our the fact that we're flying, they flew a couple times in their entire life. Now I'm flying every month somewhere. Flying. Who could afford all this stuff back then? So the fact that the DMV, the lines, they say, well, the reason there's lines all the way around the block, or it takes you days to get through our system, is we have a new computer system. I thought, what? Who's designing your computer? Who got that bid? Why don't you just call Bezos with Amazon and have him do the computer system? Obviously, his people know how to do his computer system. You can't do a simple get on the dang computer and get a stinking license printed out? Oh, we got a new computer system a couple of years ago. So yeah, and we're working half days on Saturdays to try to lighten the load. Some people I know have driven from Marysville to Colusa, Marysville to all these small towns to try to get in and get your. Have you paid your DMV fees lately with these new taxes? For some of you that have a late model vehicle, you're paying as much in DMV fees every year as we used to buy what I call a transportation vehicle, just in the DMV fees. So I thought last night, I keep hearing, oh, the DMV, you go to other states, the DMV fees are real cheap. I thought, oh, maybe people are talking trash. So I looked them up last night. There was nobody at the DMV last night at these different places, but they have them online. Texas. I thought Texas was cheaper than this, but it's pretty cheap. I got a vehicle that's 15 years old. That's what I'm driving, and it runs really good. And it's very expensive to license the vehicle each year. It's much more than this. Texas, any vehicle, $51.75 a year. Now, I thought that should have been for 2 years. I thought a lady told me that. $51.75, any vehicle. You own a Mercedes, you own a Bentley, you own a big four-wheel drive, $40,000 for $51.75. Nevada, right across the border, $29.25. If you need a set of plates, like if you just move over there, you gotta buy plates. They're gonna gouge you $8. If you bought plates in California, $30, $40. $29.25 a year. Oregon, $86. It's a range, $86 to $112. You think, oh, how come so much? It's for 2 years. Come on, people. We are getting so screwed in California. Where does that money go? It's going to unions. These unions that are ripping us off and controlling all the political decisions down there. You think you're getting your roads fixed? No. We gotta pass a new roads tax. Remember the roads tax, the gas tax? So on the November ballot, there's going to be a repeal the roads tax, and you know the government has done everything it could to try to block that from getting on the ballot. You know, it's initiated by the voters. And by the way, the guy that was the clinching vote for that, it was a brand new senator from down in Orange County area by the name of Josh Newman. First time he ever ran for office, bingo. He hit the perfect storm. He beat out a gal named Ling Ling Chang. I love that name, Ling Ling. Say, hey, Ling Ling, what's shaking? All right? Ling Ling Chang. She was a seasoned political gal. She got her clock cleaned by a bit. She lost the race to Josh Newman. But once he voted, he got right in there and voted as a Democrat. Ling Ling's a Republican. Josh, a Democrat, he voted. He was a deciding vote to remember SB1? Every year, $5.4 billion are taken out of our pockets, right? But you know where 2.7 of that goes? It didn't go to fix your highway. It goes to high occupancy vehicle lanes, bicycle paths, and light rail projects. These people are such liars. And so it's a 10-year tax. 10 years. Your DMV fees, mine went up about $75 or $100. My DMV fees went up more than 5 times what I could register my car in Nevada. I got a 2003 car with 160,000 miles on it. I'm not complaining. I like my car. I'll keep it. I tell people I keep it up because I'm hoping it outlasts me. Right? I hope it's the last car I have to buy. To me, it's cars just to get you. Sometimes people's car is their identity, right? It's like, oh, man, I feel like, it's like my car. It's like, steal my car. I don't care. I just go get another one. Steal the doggone thing. It's just a car. So $5.4 billion, right? So the voters, thank God, there was enough Republicans left down there because other than stupid Mexicans. You know, this lady, this Mexican gal I just met from jail, she said, Lou, I'm using her description of Mexican. She said, my people are stupid. She said, I can't believe how much help you've provided me and my family. And she said, you're a Republican. I don't know how she knew that. She said, we just thought Democrats were the ones that helped our people. I said, no, the Democrats are enslaving your people. I said, did you know that the Democrats were the ones that wanted slavery to keep on going and wanted segregation and fought against civil rights and are ones that would want to keep you in cheap jobs up here in the U.S. just so you vote for them, right? So there's a lot of Mexicans have moved into Orange County and voting Democrat because they think Democrats are in, which they are. They're giving away everything free, like they buying your vote. You're not supposed to be able to buy people's votes, but they do. They take my tax dollars and give it to somebody else. Same way in Yuba County, they take my tax dollars and give them to somebody else, like in 14 Forward down there. That's the Bendorf Zoo, if you haven't heard about that, down off 14th Street. So they had enough conservative folks, and I mean that there had to be Democrats voting against Josh Newman as well, because he PO'd them off. Because they voted for him and then he turned around and raised all their taxes. So they voted him out. They recalled Josh Newman and they voted in Ling Ling Chang, the gal they rejected the last time. And so that is, now whether or not the state follows suit and votes to repeal this gas tax, I don't know. Let me help you understand this. The Road Repair and Accountability Act, that's a lie in itself. Most of that money is not going to repair your roads. They just put that on there because they thought, oh, we need our roads repaired, right? So they raised the tax on gasoline by 12 cents a gallon and 20 cents on diesel. That's everything everything you put on or eat or buy is trucked to you. That added to the cost of everything you use. It also raised vehicle registration fees this year by $25 to $175, depending on the value of your vehicle. Now, $25 is the cheapest you could get a registration like up in Nevada. So we're paying, that's not our total fee, that's the increase. And it imposed a $100 registration fee on zero-emission vehicles. That's those pussy vehicles, those electric ones. And that won't even go into effect till 2020. The car tax is what we call a regressive tax. Out in Oliver and Lynn, that means it stings the poor worse. The owner who drives 25,000 miles a year in a car valued at $15,000, which is like a transportation type vehicle, that gets 27 miles to the gallon, initially saw her or his taxes increased by about $3.94 a month. Her costs go up. But when fully implemented, the monthly tax increase will jump to $17.19 a month or $206 a year. I want you to think about that. Think, oh, that's just not too much. You know, it's interesting to me how people are always wanting to judge how much other people ought to be able to afford. But government does that all the time. Oh, they can afford that. Hey, screw it. That's nothing. Right? It's kind of like the same thing when they said about you can't have a fundraiser, like if you're trying to bury your baby and you can't figure out how to get the money and you have a car wash fundraiser. They say, oh, no, you can't do that anymore. You can only wash one car in front of you can wash your own car in front of your house, but you can't go down to the gas station and fund the burial of your own baby and have a car wash, or a friend. You can't do that. Why? Well, because we're the government, and we just think it's better, and you can afford to bury your kid. Figure it out. Right? Just crazy. Jerry Brown told the San Jose Mercury News that because California has a $67 billion backlog in highway, bridge, and road repairs, he will do everything in his power to defeat the gas tax repeal initiative. Why do you think that we have a $67 billion backlog in highway, bridge, and road repairs? Because Jerry Brown didn't want them fixed. Because he doesn't want you to use highways, bridges, and roads. He wants you to use a train. You got it? A train. Or a bus. Right? He wants you to act like him. Does anybody want to act like Jerry Brown? The guy's an idiot. I thought he was a pervert for years, but he finally married a lady, but he's still an idiot. And he's a thief. Brown, this is amazing. This is corruption at its best. Brown is a termed out governor. That means he's served as long as he can. He's done. He can take $15 million of his campaign account to run for office, and he can spend it to preserve this tax. He can take up to $15 million of his own money that you donated. People that aren't even in favor of the tax, that donated money, they like Brown, but they maybe didn't like the tax. He can take $15 million of their money and spend it to lie to you in the media to preserve the tax. He's also assembled a coalition of contractors, chambers of commerce, unions, local governments, law enforcement officers, and firefighters. Don't you love it when every time there's a need for more government money, who do they go to? Law enforcement officers and firefighters. Why? Look at their salaries. Go on to Transparent California and look at how much people that you like, they're your neighbors, they're your friends. You may be married to one. Look how much money that they're making. Well, no wonder they're saying, hey, they're strong arming them. Hey, if you want to hang with the big boys, if you want those kind of monies, you better stay in line here, dude. So the campaign is going to be called the Taxes Are Good campaign. Right? Taxes are good. The American Road and Transportation Builders Association is warning that repealing SB 1, here it is, repealing SB 1 could cost California over 68,000 jobs and reduce $18.3 billion of annual economic activity. We were doing fine before they raised the tax. We were doing fine. We got Trump. We got the lowest unemployment in the history of the country. The problem is, and the weirdos, people that got syphilis and everything, their brain doesn't work right down there in Sacramento. They're all twisted. They're the ones they're the ones that didn't use the money properly. You know, it's interesting. I get a kick out of it. These government entities, jurisdictions, cities, counties, and states, we've never brought in so much revenue, but it's not enough. Same breath. Never brought in as much revenue, but it's not enough. So you can go in Nevada and you can get your car registered for $20-something, less than $30. But here, the increase is more than the whole bill is in Nevada. The lowest increase is more than the whole bill in Nevada. And for the poor that cannot get around without a vehicle, they cannot do without a vehicle, particularly up here in the rural area where, say, if you're working in farm labor or you're working construction or whatever, you got to drive to the site. You cannot live without a vehicle. Most of California is that way. For those people, they're spending an additional over $200 minimum if they're driving a $15,000 car for the support roads work. But half the money is going to bicycle paths, light rail projects. How many of you benefit from a light rail project north of Sacramento? There are none. That's why you heard that advertisement for the state of Jefferson. That's why we need a state of Jefferson. By the way, we played that clip from Mark Baird, I think a week or two ago, about how this 3-state split does not work. It's not going to be a state of Jefferson. Some people, guys said to me at the gym the other day, said, "Oh yeah, 3-state deal. It sounds good, huh? It's going to be like the state of Jefferson." I said, "No. Don't vote for it. It's just as bad as we got right now. Don't vote for it." So anyway, that's what's going on. We got a chance to repeal this gas tax. And, the other thing, I just overheard a little bit of what Nate Black, Auditor Controller of Sutter County, was saying about how I just caught part of it where he's saying how these bureaucrats claim they have a surplus. There's no one has a surplus, because when they say that, they don't add in the pension liabilities that they're not adding on. That they're a liability is a debt. If you take an accounting, it's something you owe. It isn't something you might owe. You owe it. It's like saying, "Hey, give me all this merchandise, and I'll pay you at the end of the month." You owe it. It's a debt. You owe it. It's a liability. And only dishonest people don't take those things into consideration. So anyway, the state of California needs to use the money that has been taken for taxes on vehicles and gasoline and anything to do with all that automotive stuff and use it to fix the roads and be done with it. And give us our money back. Texas, $51.75 a vehicle. Nevada, $29.25. Oregon, $86 for 2 years. That's $43 a year. The increase on just this new tax, just for your DMV fees, is a minimum for the cheapest, funkiest puddle jumper you got, $25. It's a ripoff. We'll be back next week, and Wikiman and I think, we're going to pre-record next week. Wikiman's got to go to Texas. Maybe he can go confirm whether the vehicle thing is right or not. All right, catch you later.